Hello, beautiful people. My name is Sarah Nduga, and I work with MEND Initiative. MEND Initiative is conducting a series of podcasts, and we are excited. This is our second edition. And under this edition, we are going to be discussing the mandate of the Equal Opportunities Commission. We're going to be dissecting the processes of seeking legal redress in case there is a labor injustice committed. Under this campaign, it's called the Know Your Labor Rights campaign, and it has been running for 2 years. We're excited, and with me today I have two beautiful humans, and one of them is called Regina Tusime, who is a human rights lawyer. She's currently working on research and knowledge production and management. She's very passionate about human rights advocacy and fostering works that support improvement of human rights situations in Uganda. She's very conversant. She's an expert, I might say, with national policy advocacy and also progressive laws and policies around SRHR. We also have Angela Namatov, who is dedicated to human rights and feminism. She's also a paralegal, she's a writer, and also a founder of Azali Women Organization in Uganda. Oh yeah, she's joining us remotely. She has passion about championing gender-based violence, against gender-based violence, income inequalities, trafficking issues, and she's also a law student at Cavendish University. I'm happy to have you all, and I'll be moderating this podcast today. And Sarah from MEND Initiative. So to quickly dive in a quick check-in, I would like to invite to Sime to check in with us.
Hello everyone, my name is Regina Tsime. I have already been so fancily introduced by Sarah, but yeah, I'm a lawyer by profession, and it is my pleasure to be on this podcast to discuss things that are vital to the well-being of people in the community. And yeah, I look forward to a fruitful discussion.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel nice. It's been a good day here. We have very nice weather, and also the topic to discuss is quite interesting, so I feel good.
Great. I would like to invite Angel to check in and also tell us how you feel, how you're holding up.
Hello everyone, hello beautiful people. My name is Jonathan Angela, and Sarah has introduced me. Sarah, thank you for that good introduction. I'm so proud. Currently, I feel so nice. I feel so good. Kenya is doing me good. I'm around beautiful people. Everything is going on well, and we pray that everything continues to go well in this podcast.
Okay, thank you, Angel. I would start with Regina. What is the mandate of the Equal Opportunities Commission, and how do we work with them as a community? Like, how can we initiate that relationship between the community and the commission itself?
Okay. The Equal Opportunities Commission is one of state bodies, like the way we have, the Human Rights Commission, and we have all these other national agencies that have been mandated with human rights. With Equal Opportunities Commission, however, its mandate is basically to ensure that there is equality and non-discrimination, especially when it comes to employment and labor and areas such as that. Actually, one of the biggest, I think, the mandates of the Equal Opportunities Commission is basically monitor and evaluate institutions, both state institutions and state organs, businesses, non-government organizations, and to ensure that all of them are implementing equality of opportunities and non-discrimination, to sort of deal away with any discrimination that is related to sex, race, gender, and all the other forms in which discrimination manifests. Now, that being the mandate of the Equal Opportunities Commission, one of the ways in which we can work with it, if to answer what Sarah has said, is that there is when it comes to discrimination, it's something that is very, very critical, especially in the area of employment. There's been a lot of discrimination, especially when it comes to gender. So one of the ways in which we can work with the Equal Opportunities Commission is to address some of the discriminatory practices and some of the incidences of discrimination that have happened, especially in terms of employment, but that are related to gender. It could be termination, it could be denial of employment, in whatever way that it manifests. There's been several of these. So that is one of the ways in which we can work with the Equal Opportunities Commission, especially for this community.
Thank you, Regina. Angel, to give us an insight about some of the lived realities that our community goes through when it comes to human trafficking in regards to labor. What are some of those stories that you have documented, some of those stories that you have worked on in your expertise? So could you briefly give us a glimpse of some of the situations that are faced by community members?
Okay, thank you, Sarah. We understand that Uganda itself has a problem of unemployment among youth, and that doesn't segregate our community as well. So, in search for jobs and a good life, many people in our community end up falling in hands of traffickers. They end up being mistreated. They end up being mistreated at work. They end up being harassed just to keep their job. You understand? So, I feel, yes, the Equal Opportunities Commission was a good initiative, but I feel it's not inclusive enough. It's not inclusive as it should be. It doesn't address some specific groups of people. For example, when you look at the Equal Opportunities Commission after 2007, it talks about gender, but it doesn't talk about gender identity and sexual orientation. So we still have a challenge in something to not in complaint in the Equal Opportunities Commission because they used to cover up someone's sexuality. You don't know what to expect, yeah? And now that there is the AHA 2020 screen, it has really become so hard, and so we are using our own mechanisms to help such people, like reaching out to different organizations, reaching out to individuals that can understand our community and what we are going through. So it's actually a challenge. Another challenge we have is that we have a high number of school dropouts. We understand that when a student is told maybe at school, engaging with the person of themselves. They always excel, and guess what? Some of them don't even get the chance to go back to school. So we have a lot of illiterate people, that people with no qualifications to get jobs. So it's a whole bunch of issues, yeah? So the situation is there. That's what I can say. The situation is there, but we can't just sit back and relax because we can't do anything. We are trying our best. We are trying to get back people to school to the great qualifications, making them to scholarships, mentorship programs, yeah, and even those with complex at work, we can always try to engage. We try to engage the bosses. For example, had an issue, someone is going to buy, and they sign the contract, they didn't actually understand. So then they want to get out of the contract, but they can't. So they had to fix little advice back then. Have limited resources. It's quite challenging because big people in Dubai, you're not. It's a lot of issues, practicing unemployment, illiteracy. It's a whole bunch of.
Yes, Angel. This also goes to you. Have you done any documentation of incidents that have been happening within the community, and also have you tried to engage with the commission, or there has not been any outcomes? So
yeah, we documented a lot of questions when it comes to trafficking, when it comes to mistreatment work. Yeah, we documented a lot of questions, but I'll just say, yeah, I told after person of the AHA, you can't just approach the commission with the person in this and not for yeah. So I think they also follow the law. So you can't make them divert from the law. So that's also a fear we are having right now. So we're not lodging complaints with them right now. No.
Okay, that's okay. Regina, could you take us through the mandate of the Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development?
So the mandate of the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, put simply, is to really uplift communities, but at the same time protect their rights. So its mandate is, if we can say, interlinked almost with the Equal Opportunities Commission. So the mandate of the Equal Opportunities Commission is basically to evaluate and oversee. But then the Ministry of Gender actually has the mandate to protect and promote rights, especially of vulnerable persons. Of course, with the Ministry of Gender, usually what they look at is, in the ministry, they look at women, young women and girls, they look at persons with disabilities. Those are the categories that they normally consider as vulnerable groups and whose rights have to be protected. And like Angel said, in the Ugandan context, not even the Equal Opportunities Commission, when they talk about vulnerable groups, or when they say race, gender, sex, they don't say anywhere. They say maybe gender identity. So now, the controversy is when it comes to protecting vulnerable groups, we very well know that sexual and gender minorities are a minority group in itself. But then when you look at the mandate of the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, it cannot be expressly stated that they're among the category of vulnerable groups that need to be protected, whose rights need to be protected. And that is where the gap comes in, because when you even look at it with the Equal Opportunities Commission, yes, it is supposed to mandate, to evaluate and oversee equal opportunities and everywhere, but then it states nowhere expressly that, for example, the categories of the vulnerable groups include sexual and gender minorities. So which leaves the question then, if something was done or if the issue has to do with someone's orientation or gender identity, then can they seek redress from these institutions? It leaves a very big gap. Now, going back to the earlier question that they asked Angel, if there has been any violations, I have, had and documented a couple of them, of people saying, I've been fired and all that. But the weakness is that also the employment opportunities that most of the people in this community take is that it's not formal, there's no contract and all that. So someone can just wake up and, say you're fired and you even have no redress. So for example, yeah, if you needed to go to the Equal Opportunities Commission and they asked you, where is your contract? Where are your terms of reference? Then you don't have anything like that. You don't have something to fall back to. So that is one of also the practical weaknesses, especially when it comes to seeking redress, maybe from the Ministry of Gender or from the Ministry of Equal Opportunities Commission, because you will not just walk there and say, oh, I've been fired. Oh, I was employed and, oh, they have refused to employ me based on this. We rarely have any solid documentation that can be used as evidence to sort of seek redress for some of these injustices.
Thank you, Regina. And considering the current times that we are going through as a community with the passing of the AHA, so it has been, we are trying to document. Right now, Med Initiative is carrying out a baseline study, and it's around identifying and outlining the impact of the anti-homosexuality bill towards the LGBTQ women in Uganda. So this brings me back to there has been so many employment violations that have happened within this period of time. They've been happening even before, but right now they've been engineered. So what are your experiences as people in legal? What are some of those experiences that you can briefly talk about the employment violations, the rate of employment violations that have happened so far ever since the passing of the Act, and also any recommendations that you would love to or you would like to give to the Commission in case we have that dialogue in time to come with the Commission. So we could start with Regina.
Okay. So, like I said, we have sort of been working on, it's not even a survey, it's been a compilation of violations really that have happened in effect to this law. In essence, we have been trying to analyze the impact that the Anti-Homosexuality Act has had on the community. The queer community especially, because it's really geared towards that community. Now, employment has always been one of the biggest challenges in the queer community, needless to say. Especially for like the transgender women, transgender men and all that, it's always very hard to find any sort of formal employment. But then for individuals like, gay men and lesbians, sometimes they can get it, into formal employment. But then that is also really a fraction of them. Also, that is owing to the fact that most of them are like, I don't want to use the word illiterate, but they don't have like any form of formal education, or if they have attempted formal education, then it has also been cut short, something like that. So it's it's a few of them that are in any sort of formal employment, and then the majority of them are maybe self-employed and doing things here and there, really where they can derive sustenance. So when it comes to the impact of first of all, the ones that are formally employed, there is that fear that they have been holding ever since the Act was passed, that anytime now, something like that. Yes. So it's either I could be terminated because of my presumed sexual orientation or gender identity, or it is one of these days I could be attacked, and so now it has gone from actually just the employment to it could actually even be physical abuse, because some of the instances that we've recorded, or people that have come to us sick for redress, some of them were like physical abuse, some were verbal abuse. And then at the end of the day, they may not even give you a termination letter and say, oh, we have fired you. But then the circumstances in the work environment themselves will terminate you, because it's way too hostile. But also, even the people that have not been formally employed, for example, people that were running businesses and all that, have also somehow the employment has been terminated because now they fear to run those businesses. They fear for their lives, they fear for their security. They feel like anytime, they'll find me at this salon, and then because, I look maybe a certain way or something, they will take me to jail and all that. So it has not only affected the people that are formally employed, it has also gone down to people's own personal entrepreneurs who do not feel safe because there's this law in place. So what does that mean for us? And like I already said, the mandate of one of them is to really analyze policies, evaluate laws and policies that are being put in place in these institutions, in these organizations. So one of the things, for example, I would have expected was for the equal opportunities to really show up, at the time that the AHA was being discussed, and say, what impact does this have on the employment of these individuals? Now, that also goes beyond, people that identify that way. But then there is maybe institutions that, work with these people, that support these people. What does that mean for them as well? Because that law could actually extend to them, Then what is the employment of those people? Because it's also like hanging in the balance. So it's something that we believe that the Equal Opportunities Commission, could have analyzed and given their view, maybe made a statement or a recommendation. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and now the law has been passed. But hopefully, in when it comes to a review and when there's a number of petitions and all that, the Equal Opportunities Commission can now take on its mandate to review policies and laws that are put in place in these institutions to see whether or not they're discriminatory, whether or not they avail equal opportunities for everyone. We believe that at that stage, the commission can still come in. It can still support. It can still, put an input to ensure that we curb the discrimination that has been so very clearly put out there.
Great. This has been so insightful. Angel, could you discuss or share some recommendations that we could share with the commission?
I'll first talk about the Ministry of Labour. The Ministry of Labour is actually listed outside because we see many incidents where people have been trusted, organs have been small, people have died, and there have been good justice, nothing has been done, and these the so-called labour export companies are continuing to emerge every day, and so on is holding them accountable for, and Ministry of Gender is being accountable to the community, So it should firstly have where are these companies taking all that power, that they can't be held accountable, but that these things don't exist. And secondly, the Equal Opportunities Commission should also come to the people, if I may quote, it's so English. So it should at least try to simplify the system of this income, so that even the layman can understand and can do the same thing, without expecting a lot of things, a lot of bureaucracy. That's what is failing most of our organs. So I feel they should come down to this. Then thirdly, the company should address the risk. For example, there should be challenging laws that address the policy and discrimination. Laws like the Employment Act 2006. It outlines discrimination at work based on, as I've said, based on whatever color, sex, gender. It doesn't talk about gender identity, gender diversity, and sexual orientation. So, of course, this will be people in our community from from exploiting that part of the law to get justice. So we should start from challenging laws that cure this inequality. And I think the Cooperative Commission, the power, it has a resources to do that, to analyze, to revise these laws and bring them to back parliament or the law reform.
As you wind up in a few words.
Yes, I wind up. I'm happy that we have the Cooperative Commission that is there to address inequality, especially when time to marginalize law. But I feel there's need for more awareness. They need to come to the ground. They need to devise mechanisms of how people can launch complaints, like information and they need to simplify the bureaucracy. Is what I can say. And I'd like to also thank Main Initiative, Sarah, for organizing this podcast and for helping us, for trying to link us to the Equal Opportunities Commission. You know, it's not silent, what I can say, but thank you for linking us with them. So I just hope we continue working together. I just hope we continue with that conversation. And I hope what we discussed and our recommendations can be put into practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you for being part of this. Regina, could you, in a few words, what could be your last words and how do we move forward?
One of the things that I would like for everyone to embrace is the fact that these institutions are put in place for the people. Actually, when you read the act, it uses terms like all people and all that and all that. So in case of anything, in case maybe of a labor dispute or in case you feel like, you know what, this is discriminatory and all that, we need to hold these institutions accountable. And it may be, you know, especially for maybe sexual and gender minorities or in other categories of vulnerable people, you may feel like maybe these institutions are not meant for us, but then these institutions are meant for our people. So my recommendation would be like that we embrace the mandate of these institutions, of these bodies, and hold them accountable, because that is the reason they were put in place. There are a number of them. We have actually, even under the Employment Act, there's a labor officer, there's the industrial court. There are a couple of them where you can seek redress from. Let us please hold these institutions accountable, because that is the reason for which they were put in place. And as I conclude, thankful for the opportunity to discuss this. It's always a pleasure to give even the littlest bit of information that you can give to build people's capacities, you know, to create awareness about some of these issues that people may not ordinarily discuss or talk about. Very special thanks to Mend Initiative and Sarah for taking the initiative to put this in place. We are always here to, you know, give this information and build the capacities of the community and ensure that at the end of the day, we really try to push discrimination as far as we can push it. Yeah.
Thank you. In a special way, I would like to appreciate you, Regina, and also appreciate Angela and Agent Action Fund for the support. Well, this campaign is known as the Know Your Labor Rights campaign. Just that this time it's a digital campaign, and the main essence is about creating sensitization about social protection of LGBTQ women in the labor market. And as Regina said, these institutions belong to us as Ugandans, as women, so we need to use them, and also we need to educate ourselves. We need to educate ourselves. How do we protect ourselves in the labor market? How do we get legal redress? How do we address all these labor injustices that happen to us in the labor market. Thanks to everyone that has supported this podcast, that has been part of this production, the production team, the panelists, the staff from Made Initiative, our funders. We appreciate you. We see you. Thank you.